will be talking about tax credit today. And so I know that, average people kind of glaze over when we start talking about taxes. What in the world does being pro-life have to do with taxes?
Since the overturning of Roe v. Wade, the pro-life movement has changed, and so has the way we fight for the unborn. Many celebrated and stepped back, thinking the war was over, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Abortion didn't end, it just slipped out of sight. And when no one is watching, injustice thrives. We're here to show you why the battle still rages on and how to stand, speak, and fight back in a post-Roe world. This is the CPC Podcast.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the CPC Podcast, and welcome in if you guys are new. My name's Chrissy. The Center for Pregnancy Choices metro area is the largest pregnancy resource center in the state of Mississippi, and we exist to empower the choice for life. In the studio with us today, we have, again, our Executive Director, Miss Kate Good. How are you today?
I'm doing fine.
Would you like to do the honors of introducing our very special guest that we have with us?
Yes, we are honored to have Caroline Gilbert. She is the Rankin County tax collector. She's a member of Brandon Baptist Church, and she is an expert on these tax credits, so we're grateful that you're here with us.
Thanks for having me.
So we will be talking about tax credit today. And so I know that, average people kind of glaze over when we start talking about taxes. What in the world does being pro-life have to do with taxes? So we started this podcast several months ago in the hope that we're trying to change hearts, and it's about more than just being against abortion or making abortion illegal. Abortion has always been a gospel issue for us, and so really being pro-life, you can be pro-life in whatever you do day to day. And so we're really trying to have cultural conversations, and so we have a tax collector in the house, and so we want to have the conversation of how you can, as a business owner, use your taxes for good. I have to ask, do you ever get any flack about that, like being a tax collector as a church-going woman?
100%. I'm always referred to as Zacchaeus or the typical, tax collector jokes. And I always respond with, but I do it with a smile.
Right.
Seems to alleviate some of the pressure. But yes, I get a lot of flack for that.
I can just see that happening. Maybe it's because I've gone to so many churches with, the preachers are always giving people a hard time, telling the corny jokes, whatever. But so we really do appreciate you being here with us today. And so, we're going to ask some hard questions. It's not just here's the tax credit, the Pregnancy Resource Act that Kate's going to tell us about. We want to approach these things in kind of an apologetics format where we have to think of what the other side is thinking so that we can be ready to give an answer. So, Kate, I'm just going to put the ball in your court. Could you give us a little bit of an overview about the crisis? Roe v. Wade was overturned. A lot of people were like, oh, great, we won. If people want to go get abortions, they're going to have to go away from here to do it. That is not the case. And so if you could give us an overview of the crisis now and why this tax credit exists.
Sure. Since Roe v. Wade, absolutely there is no abortion facility in our state, and we're very grateful for that. But the abortion industry has kind of changed the game, and the landscape has completely changed. Now women in Mississippi can easily order abortion pills online and have them shipped right to their door. And we are seeing more and more women who don't even have to go online. They can just ask a friend who might have extra abortion pills. And these abortion pills are dangerous. They are easily accessible here. And our job as a CPC is to now continue to intervene at the earliest point possible to give that woman access to resources and support, truth, and hope for their future.
Right. And so the Pregnancy Resource Act was signed a few years ago.
Yes.
And tell us about
Okay, so the Pregnancy Resource Act is a bill that allowed for a dollar-for-dollar credit for businesses that donate to pregnancy resource centers around the state. So there is an income tax portion, so you can donate up to 50% of your business income tax liability to a CPC and get a 50%, up to 50% credit. So you donate $10,000, you get a $10,000 credit. It's the same also for your property tax. You can do income tax credit and a property tax credit. The property tax credit works the same way. If you owe $10,000 for your business property, you can pay 5,000 to Rankin County, for example, and give 5,000 to the CPC. So essentially, your money stays the same that you pay. You're going to pay that money anyway in taxes, income tax, and property tax, but you can divert half of it to a local pregnancy center like CPC.
Okay, and so is it for just individuals or?
So the Pregnancy Resource Act is specifically for businesses, any kind of business entity from LLC, C Corp, S Corp, all those things, any business entity. But this is not for individuals.
It's not for individuals. Okay, that's important. So, Caroline, I'm just going to ask you, like, how did this all come to be? Like, what problem was the state trying to solve?
So the state, as I understand it, these tax credits started, the talk started kind of 2017, 2018, and they came into effect in, I think, 2019. I may have my years wrong. But the initial idea started with actually child tax credits, which was for basically the state's kind of mechanism for supporting some of their public policy goals. Which with the PRCOs and that kind of stuff, it's really kind of fallen in line with that. And that's where entities like the CPC and your legislators have combined efforts to, again, continue the state's public policy goals. And that's what all of these tax credits are really, really trying to accomplish.
Okay, so pushback. What would you say to somebody who said, well, the CPCs are ministries, so you're using state tax dollars to fund religion?
I think from the standpoint of that, if you are an entity that is interested in donating to any of these causes, particularly the CPC, you are coming at it with the intent to donate across the board. So I don't think from a pushback standpoint that you're really going to see that. I think the businesses that want to donate are going to want to donate no matter what. And I think if they're going to donate to multiple charities possibly, which means that's a cause that they see good in. And that's what they see fit to put their money towards.
Right. And so just to be clear, like, it's the business owner's decision
Correct.
to use their money the way that they want to use it. No one is forcing anyone to do anything.
Absolutely. And just because the state has allocated, I don't even want to say allocated, but they have allowed for a certain threshold of these credits to be applied towards whichever entity that the donor initially chooses to donate to, that is in no way, shape, form, or fashion, like you said, saying that is, again, the donor is deciding who they want to donate to.
Well, I see this as a great kindness of the state, because a lot of people didn't realize that your federal tax dollars were going to Planned Parenthood for years and years and years. You didn't have any say in that.
Correct.
Correct.
There's a lot of that. And again, I think this has been a great combination with entities such as the CPC. You don't get this allocation. And again, I keep using the term allocation. It's probably not correct. But you don't get this allotment allowed to your entity without direct communication with state leaders, particularly legislators, the Mississippi Department of Revenue. There's so many agencies that are involved in making this allowable for you guys. And yes, that's direct communication with your representatives. And that speaks volumes because, like you said, there's so many things at a greater level that you don't get a say in.
Okay. And so, Erin Kate, could you just kind of talk about how this has been effective for what we do at the CPC every day? Like, this has been a game changer for our ministry.
It absolutely has been a game changer because it allows people to give at a level they haven't ever been able to give before. So businesses, could usually have a charity budget or a budget that, a part of their budget to give gifts or sponsorships or things like this. This is now taking their tax liability and cutting that in half. And so they're allowed to give way above and beyond and still pouring into, like you said, I mean, it's things that we all care about, like feeding families and helping women and families thrive who would otherwise consider abortion. So it has just next level, gifts that people are able to give. And it is, like you said, it's their choice. These are not government funds that have strings attached. These are private citizens just making a donation. And so for CPC Metro, that has allowed us to have a brand new space in a location that was ideal for us and for our clients. It has allowed us to expand our services. We've been able to expand to doing prevention education, going out into the community, talking to teenagers early so that we hopefully they will not be a client one day of ours, speaking truth and giving them hope for their future and giving them the tools and resources they need to make wise decisions. We've been able to expand our abortion recovery support for men and women in our community who've experienced abortion in their past. And so it has just opened up so many more services that we've been able to provide just because our donors have been able to give at a higher level.
Yeah. And so, Caroline, I know that you have a heart for people.
Yes.
You have a heart for the gospel. So could you just kind of speak on why, as the Rankin County tax collector, like you are in a very unique position. And so why is this important? Why should people know about this now?
So, and that has been one of the things with the tax credits over the years is that it has been a slow leak of the information per se. And people truly don't know about some of these credits, especially businesses. And you would think, there's a lot of big businesses that make some big donations, and you would think the word would get out. Again, back to a public policy forum or just the good that these entities are doing, it is, you'd almost be silly not to do it. You're supporting a good cause. You're getting a business break. And I'm a CPA outside of my tax collector role. So I know the tax stuff a little bit from the standpoint of what's your benefit. And from a business perspective, it's just a benefit all the way around. And we are here to serve and to treat people. I don't care what your job is. I don't care what your role is. We are here for each other. We were created for a reason, and we all have a purpose on this planet. And so if we can do the smallest little thing to give back, even if you don't have a role, like I'm very fortunate. I see people and I help people all day, every day. I have in every role I've ever performed. I'm blessed. Some people are truly desk junkies, as we like to call them, and they feel maybe like they can't give back. There are so many things that you can work through your entities. These tax credits, a lot of people don't realize. You mentioned this too, but it's the S corps, it's the limited liability companies, it is the smaller entities. A lot of people, there are a lot of business owners in this state, y'all. Big business, small business, whatever, but it can still help you both on the business tax side and you're donating to a good cause.
And I'm so glad you brought that up because at one point you said it's just silly not to do this. If there is an easy way to be pro-life, you're going to have to pay that money anyway. You're going to have to pay those taxes anyway. So it's better to have more control and to redirect those tax dollars where you believe that they should go. So I'm not a business owner, and I don't really plan to be one. So you could be listening to this, and you're just like, okay, ladies, what does this have to do with me? Well, I know business owners. That's the thing. And we live in a time where it's really important, guys, to be supporting openly pro-life businesses. And so, no, I may not be a business owner, but as a person who wants to be pro-life in all areas of life, I know business owners, and this could be something to convey to my business owner friends. This is something that you need to be taken advantage of because what you stand for matters to people, So, but yeah, you see how tax dollars are spent every day. And so, what makes this stand out?
So again, it goes back to there's so much more benefit again, at the entity level and at your entity level. It is a twofold give, basically. For years, I come from the nonprofit world, and I know what it is like to seek donations. It is hard. It is hard to support your cause. It is hard, just like you said, you need a new building, you need a new this, you need a new that. And we all know costs are not going down. And so this is really a twofold, like you said, if you can tap into just the businesses that you know, and you would be amazed year after year after year. I know you talk to people who don't even know what the CPC is. And you think, well, we've been here for, however long, and we've done this and we've done that, and we promote this and we promote that, and they will still not know. So it is as simple as small conversations, but also, like you said, you're going to give, it's a twofold give. And I think when people realize that, they realize, oh, this isn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Yeah.
I think about the fish and the loaves story, and I'm so embarrassed to say that for too long, I thought it was just about having a willing heart, and it was just fish and loaves. It wasn't about fish and loaves. It was about how God can multiply your resources if you're willing to give them to Him.
Yes.
And so that's what I think. These small gifts, you don't know how God is going to use these gifts. So let's talk about, for the business owners that are listening to this, for the friends of business owners that could share this information. Erin, Kate, tell us how we can get started and what the best next step is.
Okay, so for these business tax credits, the process really is simple. But you have to do it the right way. And too often we do have people that will, especially on the individual side, who will start the process and not get all the way through. And so first I would say to just if you're interested, to reach out to us and let us just walk you through as an individual, like let us walk you through the process and make sure that you're checking the boxes along the way. Because that benefit, we don't want you to have a bad experience. And we want this to get all the way done to the finish line. And so the first thing that you do is you apply with the Department of Revenue. So you're providing the name of the business entity, the tax ID number of that business entity that is going to be making the donation to the CPC. So those things have to match. You apply in the name of the business that you plan to give from. And you're just saying in that application, if you're doing for the property tax, you're saying if your property tax is $10,000, then you're going to apply for a $5,000 credit, or up to $5,000. And we can do that for you. All you actually are providing to the Department of Revenue, the business name, the tax ID number, address, contact information, and the amount you plan to give. They're not asking for, income statements or anything else. That is really it. If you know your name, your address, your tax ID number, that's all there is to it. So you apply for that amount. What the Department of Revenue is going to do is make sure that, I guess, that they know your business name, they see it in their system, but they're also going to look at that amount and say, is that amount available? So if it's $5,000, currently in Mississippi, we've got, last time I looked, October 1st, it was $6.9 million left for 2025. $6.9 million. So obviously $5,000 is going to clear. So they're going to hold that $5,000 credit for you in the name of that business. They're going to send you back a letter to say you've been approved, but you need to give us proof of your donation. So you've got 60 days from the time that you receive that letter to make your donation to the CPC and give them a receipt. We are happy to do that for you. We will come pick up your check. We will give you a receipt, and we will also send that receipt on the same day to the Department of Revenue for you. And I just want to say this right here. You can apply for that credit, and if something changes and you can't make that donation, that in no way obligates you to give. So just as an FYI, if anything changes in your business or cash flow situation, you don't want to give, that's fine. You can apply and not give. You can let that 60 days expire, but you do have 60 days to make that gift and upload your receipt. So that was step 1, apply. Step 2, give. Step 3, turn in the receipt. Then you're going to get another letter from the Department of Revenue. That is your final approval. When you get that final letter, that is what you'll use to kind of apply your credit wherever you're applying, is what I say. So you would take that letter when you go to Caroline's office, to the Rankin County or Madison, Hines, wherever you're going, to the tax collector's office to pay your taxes, and she'll see your credit on the paper and apply that credit toward your bill, and you'll only have to give the other half, or whatever the remaining amount is. Now, it does vary. I will just make this caveat. It does vary from county to county. I know that in Hines County, you need to make an appointment to do that. That's just the process that they do. When you go in to apply a tax credit, a charitable contribution credit, you'll need to make an appointment with the tax collector, and that's not hard to do. It's just an extra step. I know that in Madison and Rankin, you can just walk in.
Yes.
So, but you know, if you have even questions like that, we're happy to figure that out for you. If you're in a different county than the ones I just mentioned, we'll find that out for you and let you know what the process is.
Yes, and I will repeat, we will help you.
We will help you. We want to help you because we want you to we want to make sure that it gets all the way to the finish line.
Well, and because there's not 60 days left in 2025. We are coming up on the holiday season. This is why we're doing this particular episode right now. I had somebody come in to the office wanting to do this tax credit this week, and she said, I need another form to take to my neighbor because we need to get on this. We do not have time. So could you just reiterate the urgency of the deadline?
Yes, absolutely. And that was something I wanted to touch on too. When you were talking about pushback, really and truly throughout all of this, outside of just education, that has been a big, and I wouldn't even say a pushback, but it's really been a stall, because really this is not, a lot of people are just jumping on this bandwagon. A lot of people still do not know that this is a thing. But the biggest pushback that I've heard at all is the 60-day. This does take some planning. This is cash out of your pocket. So you have to, when you're making the application, like you said, you're not locked in. This is just what you think you can give and what you're going to apply to be able to give if you're able. When you do that, again, that's money that you either have to save or know it's there or know that you're about to cut this check within the 60 days. Again, that is more on a entity tax level. Most places like to do their giving before December 31st. I'm sure y'all see an influx December 29th, 30th, 31st, and that is because people have gotten down to their last wire. They know what their bottom line is, and so they know, like, ooh, we probably need to knock some of that off. Again, I go back to the benefit of this. If you need the tax benefit and you want to help, this is your answer. But that is something from an education standpoint that people, and as you roll into 2026, I know there's still 6.9 million out there for this year, and that is huge, and that needs to be capitalized on, because otherwise it gets dispersed elsewhere. But if you know that that's out there, you can start planning to, like, let's figure this out in November and December. Let's get our cash flow projected and figure out how we can cut these checks, and also be thinking towards 2026, because anybody that donates this, you want them to be repeat donors for again, both levels, both their entity and yours. So the 60 days has been the biggest pushback that I've heard from anyone. And it's not that they can't or don't know. It's really a planning, like, oh, I didn't realize I was going to have to cut that check. And, budget perspective, you know what you're going to spend every month. And then when you go ahead and apply for this, you're locked into that timeline.
And for this right now, for property tax, it's actually a prime time to do it.
Absolutely.
Because you're about to get your bill,
yes,
right?
Yes. Some counties have already generated bills or are in the process. They're hitting mailboxes now or soon.
Yes.
And then most counties are either already collecting or about to start collecting, and you have through February to pay your property taxes. So yes, this is an absolute prime time when you know you're getting that property tax bill. You can see what your ad valorem is going to be.
Well, Erin Kate, I kind of want to just ask you one more thing before we kind of wrap it up. But it used to be that, and I'm in marketing, so branding and everything, we see brands for everything right now. And we have lots of options. It used to be that we didn't have, girls bought one brand of makeup and they bought it for 30 years. It's a different day and age. Now we have lots of options. And so I feel like how we spend our money um, is more of a moral thing now than it used to be. I would feel better knowing that I gave my money to a pro-life business rather than one that funds abortions. And look, when Roe v. Wade was overturned, we saw all the headlines of which businesses were going to sponsor abortions for their employees and, all of this. So I think it does matter. It does matter where you stand from a business standpoint. So if you could just speak on why is this not just a financial opportunity, but also a moral opportunity?
Well, I think this is one ministry, one business that when you support, you're actually saving lives. That there will actually be children born because of the gifts that you've given, and the little extra time you took figuring out your cash flow at the end of the year, and maybe making a trip to the tax collector's office to pay your bill in person. You could be saving lives. CPC last year saw 216 women choose life who otherwise would have chosen abortion. Um, that's worth every penny. So I think it is really important. We're absolutely grateful for the business owners who have taken the time to participate in this. And I will say, just as another thing, for the state of Mississippi right now, I mean, we just there was an election, that we've all heard about, and some states really went a different direction. And we're very fortunate here in Mississippi that we have a state that has given this opportunity for our citizens to invest in children and families, and in all different kinds of ways, and particularly in support for pregnant women. This opportunity won't last forever if we don't participate. And so, and every single dollar counts on this. We have a $10 million that's allocated just for pregnancy resource centers, which was a big deal, a big move that our state did right the same year that we overturned Roe. They saw that coming because of the leak. They saw that coming, anticipated that actually before the leak, but anticipated that coming, and said we've really got to double down on support for moms and families. And they went all out and said $10 million, which was about the budget at the time of all the pregnancy centers combined. If we were reaching that 10 million cap every year, pregnancy center, it would be a game changer for pregnancy centers across the state. And we're all doing grassroots, ground level work in our very critical work, meeting the needs of women and families in our communities. So the goal is to hit that $10 million cap so that all of our pregnancy centers are funded. If we don't meet it, it looks like the pregnancy centers don't need it. We absolutely need it. I'm here to tell you the pregnancy centers, we all have things that we need to do, and we don't have the money to do it. So it's important that the businesses participate. It's money you're already spending. You're just diverting in a different way. But we need our citizens to respond to this opportunity that's been given to us by our legislators. We're grateful for it. I know we are. We just actually now we need to start participating, and that's the way that we can continue to encourage them to do more things like this.
Right. Caroline, final thoughts?
So my only other thought that I wanted to just kind of wrap up with is, I forgot to mention this, but it does not, most people think when their donation, like if the CPC is right here, that your property has to be right here. No, your donation can cover, or your ad valorem taxes can be in any county across the state. You can have multiple counties, multiple properties, whatever. Your one donation can apply to multiple things on the ad valorem side.
Yeah, and that just kind of reinforces what we were saying earlier. It's the fish and the loaves.
Yes.
It really does. It's little in our hands, but much in his.
Right.
And that's what this is. It is an opportunity. Nobody forced that boy, in the 5,000 to offer his lunch up. Nobody pushed him to do that. and God blessed his generosity. And so that's what I think that we're trying to get across to people with this. It's not a forced thing. It's absolutely just a choice, but it is an opportunity, and we have been called to reach, teach, and send out. I think about the verse in Deuteronomy that says, "These commandments that I give to you today are to be on your heart. Impress them on your children. Talk about them when you sit at home, when you walk along the road, when you lie down, and when you get up." And it's like, take every opportunity that you have to teach your children. Take every opportunity that you have to share God's love with other people. That verse was particularly talking about parents and children, but I think it applies to business owners. Take every opportunity that you can as a business owner to be a good steward of what you've been given. So we will close with that. Now, we have a few housekeeping things that we wanted to cover before. At the end of these shows, I'll say, hey, if you want to get involved, follow us on social media, come by the CPC. We have specific things that are going on this holiday season that we're really excited about that we wanted to let you guys know of. This coming Tuesday, November 11th, we have a CPC prayer breakfast. So breakfast is the hook here. Okay, we're going to feed you, but we're going to come together. And if you just don't have time to volunteer or want to get involved, the first step that you can take is prayer. No, prayer is not site specific. You can pray in your closet, but when you have an opportunity to come together to pray with other believers, it's very filling. And we hope that from 8 to 9 on the 11th, you will come and join us and then go about your day feeling so encouraged and filled up and very hopeful about where the pro-life movement is going from here. Second thing, 2 nights later, if you can't make the breakfast, we do have a clinic tour. We have monthly tours, but November will close out for the year our clinic tours. And so you get to walk around. You get to go in every room that the girl who is in crisis, from the lobby to the counseling room, you get to walk through all of that. And so when you put yourself in those rooms, it becomes real to you. And so that's why we love our clinic tours, because you get a chance to ask questions and see the people that are on the front lines of this ministry. Third thing is probably the thing that we're most excited about. It's our Christmas open house. So we're going to deck the halls. It's going to be festive everywhere. We're going to have lots of food, and you have 3 opportunities to come. We have a breakfast, lunch, and afternoon coffee. So anybody can just stop by. It's come and go. You can get to fellowship and hear all about what God has done at the CPC this year. So we hope that you will make, if not all 3, at least one of those special dates. December 4th. Okay. Caroline, thank you again for being here, and we wish everybody the best until next time.